And for more on the president's threats, as well as the federal COVID-19 response, we bring in New York Congressman Max Rose, a combat veteran who chairs the Homeland Security Subcommittee on Intelligence and Counterterrorism. Good to see you, Congressman.
Great to see you, too. Thank you so much for having me on.
Well, I should point out that you are a Democrat who represents New York, Staten Island, and parts of Brooklyn, which is the only district in New York City that Donald Trump carried in 2016. And as you know, President Trump has threatened to withhold federal funds from New York and other cities that he says are run by weak mayors who, quote, let these anarchists harm people and burn buildings. What's your reaction?
Yeah, well, let's take a step back first and make sure that we are all on the same page. Mayor Bill DeBlasio is perhaps the most feckless, ineffective mayor in the history of this great country. He is single-handedly destroying New York City's economy, and he is single-handedly, potentially, destroying our city at large. But what makes me so mystified about this decision, what makes me so mystified about this proposal, so why in God's name would it be a good idea to stand there next to the mayor, take another shovel, and continue to dig this city's grave? No, now is the time when we need to stand up and say that New York City is the greatest city in the history of the world, and we're going to be there for this city. There will come a day when Mayor de Blasio is no longer the mayor of New York City, and New York City needs to be in a position to stand up and recover. Now, secondly, everyone wants to talk about defunding, defunding, defunding. I believe that defunding the police, defunding any other agency, but particularly defunding the police, is a horrible idea. What do you think that this president's proposal would actually do? It would result in our cops getting fired, getting laid off, and people being less safe as a result. So if anyone is truly an opponent of defunding the police, truly an opponent of abolishing the police, they should be an opponent of this proposal. It's ridiculous and it's dangerous.
So, you know, you're a Democrat. You're very outspoken. Where are the other Democrats? Why aren't they joining you in voicing these same concerns?
Well, it's a big problem with the Democratic Party sometimes. The Democratic Party sometimes is afraid to criticize its own. I don't care that Bill de Blasio is a Democrat. I do care that he is a horrible mayor who is driving the city into the ground. So I have no problem criticizing him. But the issue here is that what the president is doing when there are lives on the line is he's going to cause an incredible amount of human suffering, all for political gain. That's all they care about right now is just politics. He'll defund the NYPD for politics. He'll make people less safe for politics. He will allow people to be homeless for politics. That, to me, is unconscionable.
So what is it going to take to get him to listen to other Democrats like you that are taking this stance?
The mayor has got to allow for indoor dining. To this point, he has stood up in opposition to that. Secondly, they have got to roll out a plan for standing up the economy again, for having robust testing. But there's got to be a partnership at all levels of government. When did this become a political matter? Rather, instead, it appears that the mayor, Bill de Blasio, and Donald Trump are aligning themselves together around a shared commitment to defund the police. When in God's name, did we think that this was going to happen? Let's put the politics aside and let's rescue this city.
And how do you plan to do that? Look, you're a combat vet. Okay, you know what it means to execute a rescue. So what is it going to take?
Sure. First thing is testing. We need to dramatically increase the number of people that we are testing, not just in New York City, but throughout the country. If you robustly and exponentially increase the number of people you are testing for COVID, not just engaging in reactive testing, but proactive testing, you can very quickly identify clusters and quickly open up the economy. That's step one. Step two is that we have to instill deeper confidence that we are prepared for the next pandemic. What's our hospital capacity? What's the PPE availability? How are we going to ensure safety? And then lastly, we have got to make sure that that local law enforcement, the NYPD, is empowered to do two things in coordination with social service agencies, as well as non-for-profits in the community at large, and that is to pursue justice for all and safety for all, something that I do not think is out of the realm of possibility. But the significant escalation in shootings, the significant escalation in gang violence, it cannot continue. The city will not be able to survive. There is nothing that New York City and this great country is not capable of.
So
we have solidarity, resources, and a strategy.
Do you think Congress will be able to agree on a stimulus package, a new one, anytime soon? And what compromises do you think need to be made to get a deal done?
Well, I retain hope that Congress will get this done. We can't stop fighting until we do. Now, first and foremost, Mitch McConnell has got to stop considering this as a blue state versus red state issue. We don't do that when there's a natural disaster in the South, for instance. We don't say, oh, that's a red state issue. Let's forget about it and let them deal with it themselves. We should not be considering the economic precipice that we're on right now as something that is centered around politics. But let me tell you also what I'm not going to be comfortable with, what I'm not going to be okay with. And that is a compromise that is a middle finger to New York City and New York State, a compromise that doesn't do anything about enhanced state and local funding. Because if you do that, then you're on the side of people that want to defund the police. You're on the side of people that want us to open schools as quickly as possible, irrespective of whether or not it is safe. You're on the side of people who want to see essential workers laid off. I don't believe in that. They're heroes. We have to get state and local funding across the finish line in a robust manner. And we can do that and still compromise.
Congressman Max Rose, we'll be following you, that's for sure. Appreciate your time.
Thank you so much.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.